when it comes to fall, your thoughts turn of fall colors in the leaves, pawpaws on the trees, and beautiful hiking fall trips, cool weather, and of course my personal favorite, ghost stories in the park. We've picked a few really good places if you want to get out and experience a little more of the paranormal side of Ohio State Parks. I'm standing here at the Hope Furnace, which is a famous location, but we have to go back a few years to the early 1800s when this place was in full operation. And our ghost stories begin right here at the Hope Furnace itself with one of the early guards for this area. While on night shift, his job was to go through and make sure nobody was messing with the iron stockpiles, the material stockpiles, the buildings themselves, the tools. So he had to go from time to time into the massive furnace and keep things going. Now, while he was making his rounds one particular evening, there was a town meeting going on. But as he was wandering across the furnace area, checking it out, he decided to take the shortcut directly over top of the smelting iron down below. Well, about halfway across, he lost his footing, fell down into the molten hot iron below. Unfortunately, he was by himself, so most folks never even knew what happened to him right off. But that very same evening, while the town meeting was going on, they heard a knock on the door, a very loud bang on the front door of the tavern. Of course, they went, opened the door, nothing. Closed the door. About 10-15 minutes later, another loud bang on the door. At this point, the town elders felt it was just probably some of the kids, local kids, playing fun with them there at the tavern. But after the third or fourth try, they began to search out through the area, and it wasn't long after that they discovered the body of the gentleman who had fallen into the furnace itself. That's just one of them here at Lake Hope. We've also got just down the road the little tiny town of Moonville Station and Moonville Tunnel, right in the heart of Zaleski State Forest. You've got everything from a train wreck where both of the engineers were killed, and it's said that Frank Lawhead still wanders back and forth through the tunnel itself. How about the town bully? Every Friday night, old Baldy Keaton would go over to the tavern, have one too many, and would end up bullying or picking on a fight on somebody. At one particular point, apparently the locals had had enough. So they tracked old Baldy Keaton back, and they caught up with him late one night above the tunnel itself. Unfortunately, he was stabbed to death and then thrown down in front of the train itself. You know, to this day, while standing at the Moonville Tunnel, you still occasionally, many people report little rocks and pebbles and pieces of this and that flying from the top of the tunnel, hitting them on the head or the shoulder or whatever. And of course, the locals for years have said, if you don't quit acting that way, Baldy Keaton will get you. But that's just Lake Hope. Go down the road just a little bit. Head over to Hocking Hills State Park. You've got the ghost of the old man himself, Richard Rowe, the old man of Old Man's Cave. He's still said to greet folks as you come down the steps from time to time with his two massive hound dogs that he kept down there. He died by a gun accident, cracking ice in the middle of the winter down below the cave. And it was actually his friends, the Wyandottes, who discovered him and supposedly buried him somewhere near his beloved cave. The unfortunate part is the Wyandotte never marked their graves, so we don't know exactly where Richard Rowe was buried. But they say if you listen on those full moon nights, you can still hear his hounds baying, and they'll take you exactly to his grave location. How about Ash Cave, one of the most haunted locations in all of Ohio? You've got the White Lady who appears from time to time to hikers in groups. She comes out, long flowered dress, no shoes, long brown hair, and quietly follows groups as they move up and down the trail at Ash Cave. How about the drums of Ash Cave, the native drums that have been heard in the back? Well, let's move on up through the state. Head up towards Malabar Farm State Park, right? The famous Lewis Bromfield Mansion inside, to this day, still has ghosts and spirits moving around. You can hear footsteps, lights. The lights themselves actually fade on and off, but small little lights moving about the property up there. That's an awesome one right there. I like to go up myself, Punderson Manor. Punderson Manor was originally a home owned by a wealthy businessman in Chicago, which was later acquired in 1948 by Ohio State Parks and added onto to become the Punderson Manor Resort. But to this day, they talk about small children that you can hear moving about in there, and a lady that sometimes moves down this main spiral staircase in the old part of the manor. Hey guys, wherever you choose to go, Punderson State Park, Malabar Farm, Lake Hope, Hocking Hills, maybe John Bryan, or the ghost of Lake Alma. Wherever it is, stay safe, stay on the trail, check the rules ahead of time, but get out and do a little ghost hunting in Ohio State Parks.